Hello, people!
Animals and creatures.
Welcome to Art for Well-Beings.
That's beings with an S. It's plural.
A show to end all shows. A time to watch, learn, listen.
Hear, see, feel, be, do, have.
Art, and more art.
Visual art, human art.
So, without further delay, let's give a warm welcome to our host,
Local celebrity,
Judy Gitelson.
Hello, and there I am, right here. And I am your host, I am Judy Gitelson, and welcome to Art for Well-Beings. This is our second episode, and we're going to do a great show for you. And this episode is brought to you by the number 2. I'm going to show you our friend 2 right over here. See? Our little friend 2. You're going to see 2 very well-beings tonight, Maria and Priya. You're going to hear 2 accordionists to you. You're going to hear or see, because you're going to listen, but you're going to see 2 gourds being painted in the paint and response section, and you're going to see a painting too. So without further ado, 2. And this is a painting that I did, and this painting is called 2. And I'm going to tell you the story of this painting and how it became and what it looks like and what people think about it and what I think about it and what you can start thinking about it. And painting first is a really interesting art form because when you set out, oftentimes you set out like you're going to build a bridge and you go, oh, I'm going to go this direction. And then as it evolves, it changes. And that's the real magic of art, is that it doesn't have to support anyone walking across it. You can go that direction and it can change and become something else. So now the story of 2. I teach in the studio and I do a lot of private classes and group classes. Tonight you're going to see some private classes. And here I had a group class. And I had a couple of people coming into this group class and only 2 showed up. 1, 2. And in they came and I thought, oh, a group class with only 2 students. Well, all right, we'll proceed. And one of the people got sick and threw up. So I cleaned up the throw up and I proceeded to have the great class and went home and started painting. And I painted the word 2 came in, 1 puked. And I worked on that for a little while, and then the word 2 became stronger. It became important. It became what the painting was about. And you can see TWO. And the idea of 2 is that in any relationship, there is a stress, a conflict, an interaction between 2 beings. And the T, to me, became the masculine, and it is emanating seeds. And the O, over there, became the feminine and has sort of eggs. And the interaction between the 2 is where our creative happens. And here we are having the egg in the nest. And also someone saw the T and said, oh, it looks like the sort of Christian symbol of a cross. And so I grew out the light from behind it. And the O became kind of like a crescent, like a Muslim crescent. And so, again, it's the interaction between these 2 figures, the T and the O, that make 2 beings interact and have a creative or a stressful moment. But in this particular instance, it is a creative where they are creating the egg. And there's a lot of interaction swooping. The cool thing about starting with a word is that you can follow the currents of the letter. You can follow the current. I can follow around the T. I can follow around the W. I can swoop up where the bottom of the T goes. And that's so cool about painting, is that it can evolve and it can change. And so I like this painting for the idea, the philosophy of the T and the O and the W having an interaction and a stress point and also a point of creativity. And I like the symbolism that came out of it. What I told you about at the very beginning was about the word. The word 2 arrived out of a sentence or a point in time where there was a moment that had meaning or interest to me. And that's a great way to start a painting, something that moves me. And then I can carry it forward through its own evolution, and it takes shape of its own. Now, here I have the 2 on a landscape, and what I like to work on a lot is taking some influence, some like the word 2, and having it become sculptural. Where does the T go? And this T has been in many forms, but at this point the T is architectural, a flat, and this is one of my favorite parts right here where the T and the W interact. And it looks like you can see through or see on top of and also behind. So it's very cubistic in this one little spot right there. And I like how shapes come out of here and how I have this overlapping of shapes as well. So this is the painting 2. Next week you may see 1. There's a painting in the works called 1. And the other thing that I like is about how the O is a very female, creating that egg, and you can see that egg being launched a bit like the W, and then you can see it rolling down. Maybe it came down through this loop to here where it nestled and is forming, and maybe it's becoming, carrying forward with that current. So I like following currents of things and putting shapes into the atmosphere. And this is a painting called 2. A lot of times I'll begin paintings with a word or something of meaning. It's a great way to start the process. And now we're going to go on to our next piece, which is called the paint and response section, I believe, correct? And I'm going to paint 2 gourds. And those 2 gourds are gourds that are bird nest gourds, and they're a lovely shape. And they look kind of like the figure 8. So in themselves, they're really structural and not architectural, but organic. They're just lovely like that. I'm going to paint them, and I tell you all about them in the paint and response section. And in the paint and response section, remember that you can send your artwork into our Facebook page. Hi, and welcome to today's Paint and Response. Today I'm going to be demonstrating micaceous iron oxide as a ground, light molding paste as a ground. Today's subject is grounds and greens. And our object is gourds. I'm going to start showing you the object. The object du jour is a bird nest gourd. And bird nest gourds are really cool. They look like small bulbous on top and round on the bottom. And they're a very simple shape, but harder to paint than they look. So we'll work on getting their shape. I'm going to start my first ground I'm going to work with is micaceous iron oxide. Micaceous iron oxide is a paint, and I'm going to show you it in the fluid form. This is micaceous iron oxide. I'm going to go right on the board and look at that. Micaceous iron oxide is made from hematite ore. Before I go any further, I'm just going to remind you to be safe when you're painting. Don't eat the paint, don't wear the paint, and don't inhale the dust from the paint. And proceeding, this is our finished board of micaceous iron oxide, and you can see the glistening, beautiful, shiny, like stars in the sky, the hematite ore. So let's get painting. And I'm going to start, I mix right on my palette, but you know what, I'm going to just start with the shape of the gourd in the magenta, in the quinacridone magenta. And I'm mixing it with the Indian yellow hue. Now I'm bringing in the Hansa yellow medium. Hansa yellow is a modern pigment, and the heavy bodies hold their brush strokes. See how it holds up really nicely? So the micaceous iron oxide is going to act right here as a nice light absorbent background, and it's made again from hematite ore. And I'm going to go into the blues now. Here I come with a cobalt blue, and it's a beautiful, nice mineral pigment blue. And from where I'm sitting, this gourd is very rotund and lovely, and the light is casting a shadow right over there. Look at how I'm mixing right on my board. You can mix in advance, and you see how I'm going to mix the fluids in with the heavy bodies, so I can mix the 2 of them together. And then here I've got the cobalt teal. So I'm using all these blues and yellows to make some really nice greens. And that's our job of the day. Now a couple of painting tricks are, or a couple of seeing tricks is we think, oh, this is 2 orbs. But what I do to start out when I'm looking at the gourd is I'll cover one eye and I'll follow along the edge of the gourd to really get the shape. And that really helps me. And then I'll follow with a finger or with my paintbrush. And then I'll do the same thing on my board so that I really get the shape of the gourd. Okay, and there we have our first gourds out of green, and I'm going to come back with a little black around the edges. And the cool thing about the micaceous iron oxide, as well as using it as a ground, is I can mix it in with the paint colors, and we can get some nice colors out of it, some really unique hues out of mixing it. So right now I'm going to mix the micaceous iron oxide with, let's pick the cobalt teal. And in just a minute I'm going to put this up on the easel so you in the audience can see it. And using any colors you would like, if you want to send these a copy of this painting or your version of this, your interpretation of this to our Facebook page, we would love it. Here is a rough gourd right over there. I'm going to put this right up on the easel now so you can see. Okay, and now we're going to move on to our next demonstration is on light molding paste. And light molding paste is a gel. Light molding paste is made of hollow ceramic balls, little tiny, tiny microscopic spheres that are hollow, high fire porcelain. And so it gives you the depth and the texture with half the weight. And I am going to wet this surface. It's going to act like a watercolor paper. And so watch this, it's very exciting. I'm going to take a fluid, a Hansa yellow fluid, and look at how it just bleeds into there. We call that blooming. And then I'm going to take the, what color was that? The manganese blue hue. And I'm working on the gourd. And it's really a nice surface to paint into. And you get a couple of things. You get a texture and a bloom. And then I'm going to do cobalt teal. Here comes phthalo blue, and that's a red shade. Phthalo blue comes in 2 versions, red shade and green shade. And that's the phthalo blue. And what's so cool about paint is I build up layers. So when I'm painting, I just can keep going and building up layers and see that little tiny bleed right around the edge. I've got titanium white here. And look at how with 5 different colors I'm getting closer to the shade of this gourd. I'm going to put this one up. This is the light molding paste as a ground with a lot of water on it. And here it goes up on next to our micaceous iron oxide. And the 2 grounds we worked with today were the micaceous iron oxide and light molding paste. Okay, and I'm back, and you too. And now, thank you for watching me paint. We get to see 2 accordionists, Jenna and Gary. And here are accordion playing. And
Eight volts, which just means little volts. 1, 2, 3, 4.
that was Le Petit Waltz, played by Gary and Jenna, and we're going to see more of them. They're the two. And next, we're going to see two very well-beings. And these are special young women, Maria and Priya. And they've been both working with me for probably Priya for 3 years and Maria for probably 2 years. And I wanted to tell you that Gary and Jenna were filmed in the Art for Wellbeing studio in front of a painting I did called The Pleiades. And you get to see more of Gary and Jenna, my favorite song coming up. So back to the two very well-beings who are coming up. Maria is going to show you her painting and Priya hers as well. And then we're going to see more accordion, and then I think that's going to be it. Are we ready for Maria and Priya? I think so. Hi, Maria.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Good. What are you painting?
Mountains and water.
And you've been painting a lot of pictures of you and Tony, huh?
Yeah.
So Maria, this painting, tell me what it's a picture of. Is that you?
Yeah.
And what's this?
A big flower.
And who's this?
Me.
And who else? And,
Tony.
uh-huh. And were you thinking about you guys there?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's cool how you can paint yourself and you can paint what you're thinking about. And in real life, we can't take a picture of what we're thinking about, can we? Wouldn't that be interesting if we could take a photograph of what we're thinking about? But in painting, you can do that, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you like about painting?
It's fun. I can get all my anger out and express all my feelings.
And you're pretty good at expressing your feelings, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And tell me about what you've been painting with you and Tony. What have you been painting in your feelings?
I just miss him right now. And he's 20 now. He had a birthday.
He had a birthday?
And I can't wait to see him.
Ah.
It's hard because he's gone and he's not here with me.
And you can't even text him, huh?
No.
So has been painting pictures of him been helpful while he's been away?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So sometimes it's nice to paint a painting about somebody who's not around, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maria, can you tell us about this painting? What is this part?
Water coming down the...
Is that a waterfall?
Yeah,
And what's this?
there's water.
And what are these?
Mountains,
And what are these?
pink clouds,
Oh, that's nice. And how about this?
flowers.
And where do you think this is? You can make it up. Where do you think it is?
It's in my head right now.
And what is it? Is it warm or cold there?
Nice, not too hot. Yeah.
And what would you do there? Would you be in a boat or?
This sitting on the mountain with Tony.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why did the sun go by my eye way up high?
And do you want to say another rhyme?
Bumped on the doorknob,
Ooh, that's a cool one. Say that one again.
bumped on the doorknob.
Now we're going to have you re-find your fishy.
That doesn't rhyme.
All right, now we're going to wish to find your fish. Outside your fish, can you paint all the background with all these beautiful colors?
Sure.
Okay. So now, do you remember where you put those dots? Let's put those dots again for you. Right here, right here, right here, curve that helped you find the fish's body. Excellent. There you go, all the way to here. Perfect. And there. Excellent. Now there's your fish's body. Where's your fish's eye? Is it up here somewhere? 3 eyes, 5? Or is that all one eye? I'm here to find a fish, if you wish.
I like that one.
Excellent. All right, are you ready to find your fish?
Yeah.
Here's your painting. Do you see your fish in there?
Yeah.
Okay, what part of it do you want to work on?
The white part.
The white part, excellent. Okay. All right, let's move this so you can reach it.
The runaway painting. Almost that needs letter.
Is this his favorite fish?
I don't know.
It says, to Hartmut, love Priya, and then what does it say?
Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day. Hello, and I'm back. And that was Maria and Priya. And now we get to hear a beautiful song called, I think it's called The Spanish Lady by Jenna and Gary.
And what language is this in?
Oh, this is, fortunately the words are in Italian, so it can get past the censors.
Hello and thank you. And that's it for today's episode number 2. And it was such a sweet time being here with you and celebrating number 2. And I want to mention everyone, but they're all going to come up in the credits. But that was beautiful videos of Jenna and Gary were by Greg Gatwood. And the beautiful videos of Maria and Priya were by Audrey Daniel. And I thank our sponsor, Golden Paints, for bringing such great paint to the world. And I hope you all get to hear more beautiful music and see more pretty pictures and send us your paintings on our Facebook page, Art for Wellbeings. And thank you and have a great day.